This is lesson 8-1, multiplying a fraction and a whole number. Our essential question, how can you multiply a fraction by a whole number? And this picture shows a quick example. There's no vocab for this lesson. Okay, example number 1. So when we multiply, when we have a fraction and a whole number, what we do is we keep the fraction the same. So I have 1/8 times, and then what we do with the whole number is we just put it over 1. So my whole number becomes my numerator. So 4 is my numerator, and my denominator is always 1. And now, when I multiply fractions, I just multiply straight across. So I do 1 times 4 is 4, and 8 times 1 is 8. I do not have to have common denominators when I'm multiplying. So I get 4/8. But 4/8 can be reduced. So let's go ahead and do that. I know 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 1/2 is my answer. All right, example number 2, you're going to see something similar to this on your test. Jane wants to walk 2/3 of the days in November, which has 30 days. If Jane is able to do this, how many days will she walk? Now, when we're multiplying, our key word is of. The word of always tells me to multiply. That's very, very important. So, if you're going to forget that, write that down. So I know that I'm multiplying 2/3 times 30 because she's going to walk 2/3 of the 30 days in November. So remember, when you have a whole number, you put it over 1. So I would have 2/3 times 30 over 1. And now I can multiply across, or I'm going to show you a trick that's going to make multiplying a little bit easier. What you do is you look across. So I'm going to look first at 3 and 30. And I think to myself, what can 3 and 30 both be divided by? And I know they can both be divided by 3. So I do 3 divided by 3 becomes a 1. And 30 divided by 3 becomes 10. And now I'm just going to rewrite my fractions with those new numbers. So now I have 2 over 1 times 10 over 1. Now you don't absolutely have to do that step. You could just multiply straight across, but it is going to make it easier. It's going to be smaller numbers for you to do. And then I just multiply across. So 2 times 10 is 20, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we have 20 over 1, which anything over 1 is just that number. So the answer would be 20 days is how many days in November she would walk. Example number 3, we have 3/8 times, and we put 4 over 1. Now let's go ahead and look across. We have 4 and 8, which can both be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 becomes 1, and 8 divided by 4 becomes 2. I can also look across this way, 3 and 1, but 3 and 1, there's nothing they can both be divided by except 1, but that's not going to get me anywhere. So let's go ahead and just rewrite those fractions. Now I have 3 over 2 times 1 over 1. Now I just multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now I have an improper fraction. I have a bigger number on top, and I don't want to leave it as an improper fraction. So I need to change that to a mixed number. So what I need to do is divide. 3 divided by 2. Remember, your numerator always goes inside. 2 goes into 3 one time, and there's 1 left over. So my mixed number is 1 and 1/2 is my answer. Alright, our last example, we have 1/4 times 16 over 1. And remember, you could just multiply straight across, or let's make it easier for ourselves and look diagonal and see if we can make our numbers smaller, which we can, because we have 4 and 16, which can both be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now if I look across the other way, I just have a 1 and a 1, which cannot become any smaller. So I'm just going to rewrite those fractions. I have 1 over 1 times 4 over 1. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. Remember, I said if you have anything over 1, it's just that number. So our answer is just 4. So when you have a whole number and a fraction, you just put the whole number over 1, and you can just go ahead and multiply straight across, or you can look diagonal and reduce them first and then multiply straight across. And here are 3 practice problems. Don't forget your word problem or question and rate your understanding.